What's up, guys? Joe Neal here, and I'm here to talk about Aspinall versus Volkov, as the INC asked me to kind of give a breakdown of the whole fight card and do a recap for you guys. So I'm really happy to be working with the INC, and you're probably wondering why I'm on my phone. So my webcam broke while I was doing my initial recap halfway through, so I don't need this. Let's get to the fights. So let's start with the main event. So honestly, I was feeling pretty bad for Tom Aspinall going into this because he said he didn't want a big step up in competition. You know, he wanted to kind of slowly rise to the top, as he didn't want to be like, you know, other fighters who had this hot prospect tag on them and went and just moved up too fast or pushed too hard, and then something bad happens, they get finished or just beat in general, and all the hype's gone, you know. And like the name that pops in my head is Darren Till, who people write off all the time, and I think Darren Till realistically does have a chance within 5 years of winning the belt. I think so. I think he still is good. Problem is, everybody just wants to talk about that stretch when he was pushed too hard. Yeah, no, it just is what it is. And Aspinall didn't want to do that, so you know, he made it clear that he didn't want that. So the UFC decided to help him out by giving him Alexander Volkov, who only been beaten by giant names or very good fighters. Wow, no doubt in my mind. As the bright lights shined, the crowd was electric the entire card, and you know, didn't seem to affect Tom Aspinall, which a lot of us feel like thought. You know, he'd been fighting in the Apex with like no people or regional shows, and then he goes to an electric hometown crowd. Another day in the office. In fact, it seemed to elevate his game, you know, because he just came out so fast. Like, for a heavyweight, it felt like a featherweight possessed a heavyweight. Like, Fedor was super quick in the Pride days. Brock had some quickness to him, but it wasn't like, it was always like in a quick burst. He was fast, just sitting there, just sitting in his stance, waiting for something to happen. And very early on, he got an easy takedown, landed some incredible elbows that sliced the ear of Volkov up. And I was like, oh man, it's the beginning of the end. Here we go. But, you know, Aspinall goes for a Kimura. I start popping off, start freaking out. Joe Rogan era 2007. Kimura, oh my God. And they didn't get it. Volkov actually defended really, really well. And the grappling was interesting because they kind of respected each other's grappling, as Aspinall kind of moved him away from the cage, knowing that Volkov loves to wall walk. And then here, Volkov shows his grit and his craftiness by getting out of a Kimura attempt. It was pretty good. Gets to his feet. He's reddened up on the side from the ear. But, you know, he's actually trying to get some offense going. Too bad Aspinall's just too fast. Slipping, moving, ducking. He dodges a left high kick. Like, goes past his face. And then he ducks under a right hand and shoots a takedown. And I don't mean he ducks under for a takedown. I mean he ducks his head and then decides to shoot. It was brilliant stuff. So fast. And how he gets the takedown, instantly goes for a straight armbar. And I'm thinking here, like, okay, he's going to transition. He's going to use it to transition to side control and get an Americana. No, he doesn't need that. Straight arm lock. And it really kind of shows how good Tom Aspinall potentially is. You know, I was hoping he would be like the next big thing, and but I didn't. You know, you don't want to put too much hype on a guy, but he is kind of giving me that Cyril Gahn kind of vibes, and I don't want to just, you know, toss too many things at him to build him up here in case something comes down. I'm just saying I don't, but I feel like at the same time it's also safe now that I say that to do that, because tonight he proved that he isn't just a prospect with a high ceiling. He proved that he's the real deal, and he's going to be something pretty good, you know, at least. And he's ready for the top 5. He is top 5 at this point, you know, with how good you did it against Volkov, who's super tough, like super tough, incredible top 5 heavyweight. I think Volkov is. Didn't matter. Volkov looked like he didn't belong. He just took care of him, you know. It makes you really wonder what's next for him, because, you know, I thought this crowd was going to get to him. This crowd was electric, hectic, and just wild in the perfect way. Really shows, like, why are we at the Apex is cool and all, but I like crowds. You know, the crowd really does elevate things. And you expect it to, like, the spotlight to kind of hurt Aspinall. And instead, it just made him shine even brighter. And I think it's time to move away from the Apex as often as we do. And because this was an incredible night. And the main event was proof of that. It really felt like it elevated Aspinall. And I think there should be a petition out there, change.org, if that's still a thing, to make Aspinall fight with the crowd every time, because he is electric in his fighting style, and he's so quick, so technical, so clean. He's a guy we all got to watch out for. And he wanted Tuivasa next, from what I'm hearing, and I'm all in on that. Arnold Allen, Dan Hooker. So, fight was big fight for me. I was really excited for this. Love Hooker, but risky fight. Just risky fight going in. So Arnold Allen, for people that don't know, they should know now, sleeper killer in the division. You know, goes in, says, what does Dan Hooker do really well? Oh, low calf kicks to the leg. I'm going to do that against you. And I'm always a fan of that. Taking your opponent's signature technique and then using it against them, just genius stuff. I loved it. It was really good, and it forced Hooker to kind of be a little bit more aggressive, to kind of put the pressure on, which ended up leading to a sniper left hand on the chin. And I thought it was going to be over, but Hooker survives, tries to get some offense going. Then another left hand just comes in, and then a head kick for good measure. And then next thing you know, Hooker's against the cage, turtled up, and just taking elbow after elbow after elbow, and the ref has to stop it. Wow. You know, before this fight was even announced, whenever they were looking for a replacement for Max Holloway in the Volkanovski title fight that Korean Zombie's now in, I was saying Arnold Allen would make sense to me because of his, his winning streak. And I thought the Sadiq Youssef fight, two super prospects for me. I was really excited for it. And right now I'm like, okay, the thing I think that's hurt you, towards that, was not having a big name. You got one now, bud. Cheers. Because I'm glad I've been on this bandwagon for a little bit. It kind of helped validate me to my friends. So now I look smart. And that's what's important, is looking smart. Anyways, really kind of makes me feel like what's next for Allen. I do think a top 5 guy's next. I suggest Calvin Kattar. I don't know if Kattar is in the top 5, but I think Calvin Kattar him sounds like fight of the year contender just by signing on the line. And it's also, I feel like they're at an interesting kind of cross points too, because I was thinking if Hooker did win, Kattar makes sense. Why not Allen then? Next fight, we had Paddy Pimblett versus Kazula Vargas. Something about these guys that talk the talk. They're big characters, big personality. They're getting eyes on them. It's great. And, and he is the personality. He is the character. And he is getting eyes on him, because I would probably, if it wasn't for the fact I'm hardcore, I'd watch every fight on the card. I probably wouldn't really care about him. But I care, and that's something. But I don't think beating lower competition equates to walking the walk. And that's kind of what I want to see. I'm sure a lot of not a lot of fans kind of share that sentiment. But, he's starting out in the UFC. His second fight, so it is what it is. But I think I got a name for him. Hear me out here. Jim Miller. Jim Miller, big name. Vet, crafty, tough as nails. And I think they could put on a banger. I think that's the way to go. So, fingers crossed for Jim Miller, Paddy Pimblett. I'd be down to watch that. Then we had Molly McCann versus Luana Carolina. Everyone loves Molly, and so do I now. Her opponent wasn't that impressive to me. She'd probably still one-shot kill me. But she was tough. Super tough. Took some big shots on the chin. Just kept walking them down. And Felder called McCann Tyson-esque on the card with her head movement, and her ability to take away her opponent's reach, with her peekaboo style of ducking in, landing. She was splitting the right hand very well. And while the quality of their boxing obviously isn't on the same level, I 100% see that comparison. Her swarming style was really fun, and she nearly finished her opponent in round 1. I had questions about her cardio. She took that question away and just threw it off. And because she just came out wrestling in the second round. Slammed her opponent multiple times in the grappling. Or one time big at the end of the round, but a couple times pretty solidly. I was pretty happy with it. And then I was really liking this performance. Third round, loved it. Catches a kick. There was a spinning back elbow, like John Jones, Stephen Bonner. This one knocks her out. Carolina goes down. Popped off so hard. Just wonderful stuff. Early knockout of the year pick for me. We got a lot of year left, but then Paul Craig, Nikita Krylov. And this fight was kind of confusing to me when I was on the prelims, as the Jamala Hill win from Paul Craig has just aged incredibly. Well, out of the gate, Krylov throws a snap kick. Crazy aggression. Scramble ensues. Paul Craig manages to get it to the ground, but Krylov lands on top, and instantly, red flag waving. I'm like, okay, well, you're in Paul Craig's world now. But Krylov almost made me think twice about this. He ended up landing some big ground and pound. I thought he was going to get the finish. But it's Paul Craig's world. Krylov was just living in it. Craig got him in a triangle choke. Tapped. Just beautiful work from Paul Craig, honestly. And I feel like he's on a big hidden run no one talks about. He's got some big names on his belt. I would love to see him and Ankalaev run it back, personally, I think. I think that sounds fun. It makes sense to me, too, I think. Then Jack Shore versus Timur Valiev. And this was my early pick for Fight of the Night. I really liked this fight. So early on, I thought Jack Shore looked really smooth and technical. He was creating some problems with his feints, but the low kicks from Valiev and the pressure, I thought, won the round for him. But I want to add this, though, because Jack Shore took a low knee that made my future baby mama cry somewhere. I was hurting. I was reeling from that one. Oof. Made me sweat watching it. The second round, though, Shore turns it up. Starts taking control of the fight. And the momentum just drastically shifts to Jack Shore. And by the third round, I thought Valiev was out of gas. He actually nearly gets a guillotine. Jack Shore escapes. Then that gas tank's dead. Shore just picks him apart. Drops him twice hard. And Shore wins a unanimous decision win. And a fight like that shows me why bantamweight's my favorite fight in the UFC. Maybe in the world. It's just so good. Great fight. Jack Shore is a name to keep an eye on. He looked very, very, very good in that fight. Overall, this fight card was insane. It's my favorite card this year so far. I loved every second of it. I loved every fight. Watched them all start to finish. And I loved it. It's the reason, fights like this are the reason for MMA fans. So, just fantastic stuff. Can't wait. It's great.